part 2 on this pyramid equation here. Now, the second pyramid that we're going to do, I've already done this up for you, just to save on a little bit of time. On the first part 1, I showed you how to do this equation. And so basically, on the first equation, we equated going in this direction, left to right. Okay, on this equation, I went from right to left. So I would go 9 and 0 is 9, 9 and 0 is 9, 9 and 2 is 1, 1 and 5 is 6, 6 and 0 is 6, and then we stop. We have to go in into the opposite direction. So we put a square there. 0 and 9 is 9, 9 and 6 is 15, so we put the 5, and then you go 5 and 6 is 11, so we put the 1, 1 and 1 is 2, and 2 and 9 is, well, we stop there, we have to stop. So we put the box there, and then 9 and 9 is 8. 8 and 2, we're going on the next level, that is 10. So now we got to stop, because we got to have at least one to go into the other direction. And so you go 5 and 1 is 6, and we put our box around there, and then 6 and 0 is 6. So out of this equation, the first equation told us 4 of the 6 Powerball numbers. Okay? Well, one of those numbers, you had to use interpretation to understand it. And that's the thing about energy. You have to look beyond the box. It's not just everything is always 1 plus 1 is 2. No, when you deal with the unseen energy, it's what it appears. So, like, I'll give you an example here. If I write 1, 1, and you say, well, that's 11. And someone next to me say, well, no, I see 2 1s. So now you got 2 1 in there. So, but anyways, let's get into talking about the second equation. So I equated from right to left, and we ended up with a 6. So we got a 6 on one side, 9 on the other. Now, where is the remaining 2 Powerball numbers in here? The 9th of May, well, they both add together as 4. So this is our level that has 4 digits. If you look in the center, now this center will be different from the first one. So what you would do is, what's the middle one? You can read it going this way, that would be 12, or you can read it going this direction, and that's 21. Well, 21 was the Powerball of Powerball. So that's 21, okay? So that gives us 5 out of the 6 numbers. Now, where do you get the 6 number? Now, like I said, with energy, you have to interpret and you have to sense. Well, we don't have to sense because we see the numbers right in front of us. Now, keeping on the level here with 4 digits, let's just say 5 and 1. Okay, if you minus it, that's 4, right? That's 4. And if you do the reverse, if you don't minus it, you plus it, and you go 2 and 8 is 10. So we put a 0. And we went from right to left, so we're going to read 0, 4. Well, look up here. 4 was one of the Powerball numbers. 4, 15, 32, 49, 58, and 21 on the 9th of May. Okay, so with that, this equation just basically gave you the 6 numbers. Had you taken the time to understand numbers, see, that's the thing about energy. It will bring opportunity to you, but if you're not paying attention to your environment and understanding the original language of the universe, then opportunity will pass you up. The drawing for that night on the Powerball was $113.7 million. Now, cash value is usually about half, and then the standard, 40% in interest for the government or whatever. Anyways, it'd be a whole slew of money. It would take care of you for the rest of your life. So, but just getting to the principle of numerology. Now, the thing is, life is not always as simple with these numbers, but this will give you a general idea and work you in the direction of understanding numerology. Okay? Because, and I'll give you a little information about me. I have already hit 5 out of 6. And recently I was up in Vancouver, and I, for the first time, never played it before, the Super 7 up there in Canada, Vancouver. And they have a Super 7. Well, they draw out 7 regular numbers from the same bin, and then one more, which is the 8th one, which is considered a bonus ball. And I did up the equation, wasn't real sure as to if I had the right one. I was doing equation it's like equation. If I'm trying to find the square foot of a box is one equation. If I want the linear foot is another. So it's the same principle when it comes to energy. So as far as a different equation, well, I did it up just for the heck of it. I was in a hurry, and it turns out I had 7 out of the 8 numbers drawn that night. And basically I had 6 regular numbers and 1 bonus. Well, 6 and 1 bonus, that's like a little over $200,000. And it was quite a shock to me. So to get that many, well, you figure to get 7 out of 7 on a lottery, if you equate it, and their largest is 1 through 49. And the thing is, you go 49 times 48 times 47 times 46. That's how you find the different, many different combinations you can have. And it comes up to about 432 billion different ways. So to give you an idea, if you're dealing with a numerologist, deal with someone that is dealing with true numbers, dealing with both the seen and unseen energy. What I displayed to you here is basic seen energy. Now, if we was to do this differently, this 0 would count. So you would count it as 1. So you would go 1 plus 9 is 10. So you would put a 0 there. So that is how you would do the unseen. Now, like I said, this is just the basic level. There's intermediate and there's advanced. Well, the thing is, I can't teach you advanced, and the reason for that is you have to be able to understand numbers and sense numbers. So because energy is going to give you numbers as you're equating this to put in. So, like for example, if I was 6 and 0, and I was going to add this up, and energy either tells me in a voice, or I sense something in my environment and it says, it's not a 6, put it to a 7. Or I put a 6 and it says, energy says, now flip it, make it a 9 instead of 6. So that's the advanced level. That's what, and it's because energy has to maintain the upper hand of all things. That it's just the way it has to happen. Okay? And it's just for the fact because a lot of people get greedy. They'll get greedy and everything is money, 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 and they lose focus of things. And the thing is, that's what's about me. I've never been about money. I understand society revolves around money, but I cannot divert from my main purpose, and it is to teach people the true numerology, because numbers is the original language of the universe. And if you're going to learn some kind of language, let's start with something that is the original. English is not original. Arabic is not original. That is not the original language of the universe. And the reason why, remove that. If we was able to remove English, life would still go on. The thing is, if you remove numbers, then you've removed everything, because everything revolves around number. You remove the 2, you cannot have water anymore because you have H2O.